Hey, fight fans, welcome back to Carl Prusa MMA. Today we have a treat for you. My guest is a Bellator veteran. He's made a pretty big name for himself, taking on the lights of Mr. Danny Sabotello. He's took on Patchy Mix, Magomedov, you name it, one of the better Bellator fighters we have seen. He is Supa, Mr. Raufeon Stots. He is going into battle against Marcos Breno. September 7th, big Bellator Champions Series event. Roth, what's going on, man? Knowing that we're only, like 3 weeks out to the contest? What's the mindset right now?
Yeah, 2 weeks, man. I mean, I could fight tomorrow. I wish I could fight tomorrow at this point. But, yeah, man, I'm excited. Excited to get back in there. Excited to get the ball rolling again. Excited to start my climb again, just ready to get in there, man, at this point.
I really like your camp. Train with Eve Edwards, train with Manny Sanchez, Match Now. Really cool group of guys. Seems like you guys have a lot of fun, too. I mean, you take it serious. We always have fun. Always really positive about it. What's it like training with those guys?
Man, it's fun. It's it's light, but it's also like we're trying to beat the shit out of each other, So it's definitely a hard camp. I got tons of bumps and bruises to prove it. But with Eves and Adrian Yanez, Camp's mother, man. It's a good cast of like highly tested and accomplished athletes that are just in there kind of trying to reach the same goal and go out there and knock some heads.
You've been doing this for quite a long time. I think some people don't realize you've been competing in amateur as far as 2014. People don't realize MMA has evolved so much in the last 10 years. I mean, heck, it was just legalized in New York in 2015. Back in the day, people used to call it human cockfighting. They thought this was criminal activity. They thought it was crazy. In the early days, do you have any horror stories of maybe the early promotions of mystery opponents, fighting in bars or crazy conditions, bad medicals? Do you have anything nuts?
Man, I feel like I was pretty blessed as the promotions. I've worked with some pretty good promotions. I don't really got horror stories about like the promotions. My early career was just like a lot of me just kind of wishing or wanting to show up, but not being able to because they would find my name on the internet and find like I was a 2-time national champion and figure out they didn't want to take the fight. So I had a lot of pullouts early, but as far as like the promotions, I don't feel like I really got like a horror story. I can't think. The worst thing I can think of is just having to go to the after fight party for my check. That's like the worst thing, and I don't even feel like that's bad, because I know some people that have some like, oh man, I fought at a bar. I didn't know who I was fighting. And my first coach was Jens Povert, so he didn't have, there was no weight classes. The things weren't sanctioned anywhere. So I don't think mines are as bad.
How did you get into this crazy world of combat sports, man?
I was wrestling, and then I had won nationals in wrestling. So then I decided I wanted to maybe try the Olympic route, or I was like going to the Olympic route because I was told that I would get my room and board paid for at the Olympic Training Center. So while I was doing that, I was also finishing my degree in University of Nebraska at Kearney, the school I wrestled at. And Jens Povert just happened to be starting a gym in Kearney, Nebraska, with some people that he had met in Kearney, Nebraska. And they pretty much asked me if I would come to the gym and help the MMA fighters learn how to wrestle, like to help them with their MMA game, just show them some wrestling moves and techniques. And so I went and I met Jens, and then I started like teaching there. And eventually Jens got me to like learn boxing in order to help the wrestlers or the MMA fighters learn how to wrestle. Then I did some jiu-jitsu classes in order to help them fight. And then yeah, then they just end up getting me. Just Pover was just like, man, you might as well, get in there and test it out, get in there and mix it up with somebody in a MMA fight. And I was like, I mean, I'm learning all this stuff. I might as well. Shit, let me try it out. So I got to my first MMA fight. I had a guy. The guy was like 6'1". He had a couple MMA fights. It was my debut. And I broke his orbital and finished him like with a standing anaconda choke, and he was 6'1", but his legs was dangling in the air, and then he fell to the ground. He felt unconscious, and then after that, I was like, I'm the baddest motherfucker on the planet. Like, I love this shit. This shit is what I want to do, and I just been plowing forward since that fight. So yeah, that's what kind of got me into it.
That's cool. You bring up a guy like Jens Pulver, obviously such a legend of the sport. A lot of the casual fans may not know who he is because this was a little back in the day. He got honored during the UFC Hall of Fame a couple years ago. How happy were you for him when you found that out?
Yeah, I was super hyped for him, man, because he's deserved it for a long time. And he's the first lightweight champion. You know what I mean? He was the first of the little guys, Little Evil. My coach, my mentor, that's who I call whenever I have like a big MMA decision that I need to make. I call him for advice, because he's been through the ups and the downs, and he's lived to tell the story, So yeah, I'm super happy for any recognition and accolades, you can add to the long list of things that Jens Pulver has accomplished.
You really made a name for yourself in Bellator, becoming one of their top guys. Obviously, I mean, you found so much success. What drew you to Bellator originally?
Originally, it was kind of like I was chasing the other organization, but Bellator kind of made me an offer I couldn't refuse in the beginning. And it was actually, I went with Emmanuel Sanchez. I went with Emmanuel Sanchez to his fight. He was fighting in a Grand Prix. And that was my first Bellator event that I had attended. And I was there as a corner. And I just kind of seen how well he was treated, and I had been to events at the other organizations as corners. But I seen how well he was treated. And then I talked to John McCartney, and he was like, hey man, I seen your grappler. I had a grappling match, like a super fight with Anthony Burchek or something like that. And he was like, man, I seen that match, man. You kill it, man. When you gonna come over to Bellator or whatever? And I was like, oh, well, I didn't know. I mean, I don't know. when they called me, I guess. I don't know. I didn't know that was an option. He was like, yeah, man, we would love to have you here. You're an amazing talent, bro. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. And I was like, oh, okay. And then so after that, I freaking hit my manager up, and I was like, hey, is Bellator an option for me or whatever? And he was like, well, yeah, if you want me to reach out to him, I'll reach out to him. And I was like, oh, okay. And then they hit me back freaking the next day. It was the next day. They hit me back in the morning and with an offer that was like much better than I would have got anywhere else. So that's what pretty much landed me here.
I think really one of the names that really put you over the top, became you one of the biggest names in Bellator. Definitely the win over Magomedov. Coming in, Magomedov was 18-1 guy. You went over there, beautiful unanimous decision victory. For your career, how big was that contest?
Oh yeah, that was huge. That was I feel like that was a turning point where people were like, oh, okay, this Raufeon kid is for real. I think I was like highly touted, and it was evident that I had a good potential to be great, but Magomed was somebody at that point who had been tested, by Peter Yan. He had beat Peter Yan, and I was like relatively new to the MMA as a like the casual MMA fans or the broad MMA fans. So not a lot of people knew my name. They kind of know him. They know of the camp he's training with. He's also a Dagestani at that time. Dagestanis. I mean, to this day, Dagestanis are a pretty tough breed to beat. So that was the first fight that that was the first fight that I was an underdog going in. And so yeah, so that was like a huge kind of coming out party to me, for me, to like let all of the fans know that, hey, Raufeon Stots is a problem. You know, he's dangerous and he's well rounded. And yeah, so that fight was like huge for my career, because then that catapulted me into like title talks, you know, immediately, and you know, just being a household name.
You know, if they didn't know you were well-rounded in that contest, they sure did when you took on Juan Archuleta next. I mean, obviously a tough guy in Bellator, very good mixed martial artist. You're able to finish him off with a nasty leg kick, third round. Walk me through that finish. You know, going into the fight, did you think that could be an option? And when did you see the opportunity to land the kick?
Yeah, well, we knew that he was gonna be like kind of darty. He kind of, we knew that he was gonna be like strong early. And we knew he's just like he's a well-rounded, you know, great athlete. I didn't see the kick until like after the like second round. I landed like a body kick, I believe, and I kind of seen him wince, and then I was like, from the body kick, I felt like, okay, now he's got my respect from the kick, so he'll respect kind of anything I throw. And the head kick just happened to be there, you know. The way I throw my kicks, the way Duke Rufus and Scott Cushman taught me to throw my kicks, I'm able to change it up kind of at the last second. So if I get you to bite on it, I can make you pay for it the next one. So yeah, so that kick ended up being there, and then from there I landed the kick, but it kind of glanced off his head, and he got a little wobbly, and then I was like, man, I gotta freaking finish this guy, because this guy is, you know, tough. I can't let him back in the fight, because he's one who will climb and claw and you know, scratch his way back to a win. So I got in there and I finished the job, you know, as a professional I am. So yeah, and that was that.
You know, another guy that I got to bring up with you, what's a Raufeon Stots interview without talking about Danny Sabotello? I know you'll enjoy talking about this subject. A guy, a rivalry for you, you know, love stuff. We can talk back and forth here.
Yeah.
Able to beat them both twice. Great
Yeah.
performances from you. First one split, then the second one, you know, there's no question that you won that contest. How satisfying were those wins for your career?
Yeah, they were super satisfying. I mean, for me, they were like must wins. I can't talk all that shit and then lose those fights, you know. But you know, it was also satisfying because I got to like talk, because nobody like really wants to engage with me in talking, but Sabotello felt like he could, and Sabotello was also like, that's his shtick, you know. So that was like super fun, you know. The fights, the first fight actually being like a split, kind of like left a bad taste in my mouth. But after the second fight, he's not, my name is not in his mouth anymore as like, man, I could get that guy, you know. I feel like he understands that I'm just better than him. He, you know, had a lot to say before, but now he doesn't, you know. So that's like satisfying in itself, to like make somebody who is a talker, you know, kind of have to shut up. You know, that's definitely satisfying.
You know, another big name that you fought, Mr. Patchy Mix. Obviously, the
Yeah.
fight didn't go your way.
Yeah.
What did you learn from that contest? You take any positives away from it?
Yeah, you know, going into the fight, I feel like my game plan and everything was pretty good. You know, I made a mistake in the fight, you know, that he made me pay for. And you know, ultimately, I, to be honest, I didn't respect his striking at all. You know, and I just have to remember that you know, because unfortunately for me, all these guys that don't necessarily have good striking get lucky with me. So that's something, you know, I have to make sure that I'm on point with. I'll actually fix some things that I felt like nutritionally was kind of like messing me up through the camp, making my weight cut, you know, bad. Which both of my fights that I've lost, I've also had like kind of bad weight cuts, or I just got kind of complacent with being dialed in with my nutrition. So yeah, those two things, I think going forward will make me that much better, in any contest I have. So I'm hoping that I'm able to prove that by having rematches with the only losses that I have. I got 2 losses, and I would love to have those 2 rematches back. Hopefully, they come up for me. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm gonna just keep progressing, keep getting better. I was able to learn 2 things that I feel like can be detrimentally great for my career. So yeah, I'll just keep keep the course, and hopefully try to get that one back.
Now you're about to be coming off of a layoff, going right back into the mix, trying to reestablish that name, as you said. Taking on Marcos Breno, tough guy, big co-main event opportunity, big Bellator show. Overall, what do you think of him as an opponent?
Marcos Breno. I think he's a tough. He's a tough Brazilian. He's got a lot of power in his hands. He's a dangerous young guy. Yeah, I think as an opponent, he's just the type of opponent that's going to bring a banger of a fight. He's going to bring like just some youth and some strength, and he's a young dog. So I'm excited, to pretty much stake my claim and let everybody know I'm still here with a big statement win. And I'm excited for the opportunity to show out, against a young up and comer.
You think the experience, the fact that you've fought some of the biggest names, you think that's going to help in this contest?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be evident in the fight. I feel like Marcos Breno has had some great moments. They've seemed to be a little inconsistent with his last couple showings. So I think the experience is kind of what he's like lacking. But this is a big opportunity, and anything can happen. So I'm sure he's going to be coming prepared. I'm sure he's going to be kind of trying to rectify the last loss he had. So he's going to be dangerous, and he's going to be ready. So I think my experience and how I'm able to adapt, and the wars I've been through will it'll be evident, come fight night.
So much stuff has happened in PFL, Bellator in the last year. Obviously, a big merger coming around. When you heard the news that, Bellator was essentially owned by the PFL, what was going through your head?
Originally, I was excited, but I was just like kind of in the dark. I didn't really know kind of what was next for me, necessarily. So, yeah, I was excited for all I was like, oh man, this could be cool. This is a new promotion, they can have a different format, maybe we mix into that. Maybe we have some new opponent, new faces, you know what I mean? So that part was like super exciting, have some new dogs in the yard in the division. That's that part, or us versus another organization. That part's like super exciting. There was uncertainty. There was a lot of uncertainty of like the direction I was headed, or what direction they wanted me to head in the company. Yeah, pretty much I was like really excited, but I was uncertain of kind of where I was headed.
Could you see yourself one day maybe competing for that $1 million prize in the PFL?
Man, I would love to compete for that. That'd be a dream come true. I would love. They got some like cool stuff going on, like the tournament season. I think it's like a really cool opportunity to like get your name out there and to make $1 million, make a lot of money on the way up to $1 million. They also have the Africa. They've started making shows in Africa, which I think is like super cool too. That'd be a great opportunity. My dad is from Nigeria, so that would be kind of like a life achievement for me to fight in front of the people of my homeland. So my dad's homeland, I should say. But yeah, to answer your question, I would love to fight in the PFL tournament.
All right, I got 2 last questions for you, and I'll let you go off to practice. Being a mixed martial artist, I think a lot of people watch UFCs, they watch the PFLs, they watch all these different shows, and they're like, wow, what a glorious life for these guys. These guys are superstars, they're heroes. Little do they know all the sacrifices needed just to get to the fight. Obviously, before you got big in the Bellator, when you're fighting on the regional scene, you're not making millions of dollars, not making thousands of dollars to fight. A lot of guys have 40-hour jobs. They have families. They have wives. They have whatever. They have to pay to get punched in the face, deal with all the stuff at training camp to fight. Now that you've had the opportunity to get on some of the bigger shows, yeah, the money's gotten better than what it was. But do those sacrifices still exist for you?
Yeah, those sacrifices still exist. They're sacrifices to kind of like gain new ground, you know what I mean? So I mean, I'm the same kind of thing holds true. Like, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm making sure that my family is okay and my kids are growing up to where they have things that I didn't have. Now I'm like trying to put the money that I make into places that's gonna make money to help further pretty much help my extended family or help my family around me. I'm also, sacrificing a lot of time that I could be spending with my children, with my family, making memories, and at this stage of my life, that's like, that hurts. That hurts me because it's like my kids are like, 2 and 6. And I feel like these are like the formative, years of their lives. And I'm just missing a lot of the like little things, you know what I mean? So I make sacrifices there. As far as like compensation, I feel like I get compensated pretty well. So I don't have to so when I first started, I had to have like 3 jobs, and then make all the practices and then make all the extra training that I needed to compete at a high level. Now, I can make all those practices. I don't necessarily have 3 jobs, but I chose to I opened like 2 other businesses that will help will help pretty much help me support my family maybe after I'm done fighting or to help additionally support my family, which I feel like is a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice to my family. It's a sacrifice kind of to my my life, as far as my free time. But yeah, so I'm always kind of making sacrifices. I don't know if that's something that I'll ever stop doing, because I do love like MMA and I love training MMA. I also love to take care of my family, so that's just something I think that I'm just always gonna do.
All right, Raufeon, last question. In a perfect world, what is the outcome on September 7th when you take on Marcos Breno?
Man, perfect outcome. I go out there and I knock this man out in 30 seconds, and I go and I have some freaking bomb ass food and drinks somewhere in California. So that's what I'm looking to do, man. I'm looking to go out there, make a huge statement, finish him early, and have a good night.
All right, Raufeon. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today. I'll let you go off to training so Yves and Manny and all those guys don't yell at you. But I wish you nothing but the best, brother. Thanks for stopping today with me.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man.
That's Raufeon Stots. I'm Carl Prusa. Stick around, fight fans.